Hello, hello, and happy Monday. How's everybody out there in Facebook world?
So, good evening again. We're here once more, and glad to be able to connect with you once again. We're going to continue on, as you can see in uh, type, uh, our title. We're continuing on. This is part 5 of navigating differences. We've been on this journey trying to touch on the main components that we consider to be differences, not intending to seem as though this is a complete list. This is some of the items that we believe will be beneficial for us to appreciate about our partner as we seek to do life together. And so we've been on this thing for a little while, and we've talked about the women. We're trying to continue to talk about the men tonight. And I want you to comment and let us know your feedback. We welcome that feedback. We find it to be very effective when we're able to hear your heart and hear your perspective. The last few weeks, we've really been getting some good participation in this discussion. That's really what it is intended to be, some more of a discussion. And so we're going to pick up where we left off last week.
All right, you go ahead.
So, yeah,
I'm gonna try to be a little
men,
control.
men must think about their feelings before they can talk about them. That's a concept that might seem a bit foreign to others, but or seem a little novel, I should say. Probably didn't think that that was the case for men. I think men are more reflective in a sense when talking about their feelings. They're certainly more closely held to their chest, so to speak. And I think that is a reflective process. Shandi.
So, can I ask a question? Like, do you think that's the way God made you, or is that the way you all, is that culture, society, is that a learned behavior, or do you think God really made you that way? Because actually, I think about the first time I can think of a man getting emotional in the Bible. You think about Adam, and he was like, God, this woman that you gave me, like that was an emotional response, I think. I don't think he thought through that.
I don't know that it was necessarily an emotional response as much as I believe it was a self-preservation response.
Okay, but like, do you think that's more learned? Because I just know I've heard you talk about how like men don't cry, and like growing up you were like, and boy, don't you dare let me see no tears and that type of thing. So do you think it's more of a learned behavior, or did God give us all emotions to express? I'm just curious.
I believe the answer is some and yes. Um, it's certainly emotions are a part of human composition. The absence of being in touch with one's emotions can very well be a learned behavior, one that starts early. I mean, from the stage when you're walking, when you first learn how to walk, rather. I think back and can recall multiple moments where mothers as well as fathers have communicated to their sons to distance themselves from being emotionally expressive. Every child comes out of the womb and is expected to cry. If the child does not cry, doctors become concerned,
Alarm.
right?
Yeah.
So certainly the capacity to be in touch with your emotions is a natural phenomenon. Nonetheless, it is something that many individuals of the male side are distanced from. Now, again, some people, their nature is they're not very emotionally expressive,
Mm-hmm.
but I think culture plays a huge part in it.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I was just curious, but the fact is, for the purpose of tonight, is that it is true. Men they usually think before they emote,
Yeah.
and when they don't, we feel some kind of way.
And many refuse to. So let's talk about this from a financial perspective, because a lot of people don't understand why it's more expensive to insure a man than it is a woman. And part of that is totally tied to the fact that men are given to heart attacks and strokes, um, far more than women, because men are not in touch with their emotion. Their emotions are a part. Crying helps to relieve stress.
Mhm.
Anatomically speaking, it's intended to relieve stress. And yet, um, men often, I don't believe, realize that and will withhold um, crying. And doctors, not doctors, um, actuaries. Actuaries are the ones who put the formulas together for pricing of certain insurance products, and health insurance, life insurance. It's going to be more expensive to insure a man.
Mhm.
And that's part of it. And because again, we based upon our nature and our preference of um, of how we go about our lives, that's part of what happens.
You think that's why it's more challenging to get men to go to get therapy and to talk about their
Well,
emotions?
no. Part of the reason why that is the case because men don't want to appear weak.
Oh.
Men don't want to appear like they are not capable of handling whatever it is that is before them. Because, again, you've heard the phrase, the survival of the fittest.
Mhm.
The survival of the fittest. If I'm not fit, then what happens? A lion that can no longer fight and defend is banished from the pride.
Well, with us women knowing this and what you just shared, and us wanting to keep our partners as long as possible, how can a woman try to help a man feel comfortable tapping into his emotions? I think it's
Um,
important because we want you to be around. And
well,
if you're stuffing it in, and my favorite scripture when we're doing deliverance is Psalm 32. When I kept quiet.
part of it is creating the home environment such that it's safe and there is not a need to fight. One, he'll bring his defenses down. Um, One of the elements that I believe we talked about last week is talking about the importance of touch. Men are aided when they experience physical touch. It actually was 14, and I don't know if we really went into it at length, but think about, I know we talked about the Samson phenomenon,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Uh-huh.
And how Samson, being this man's man, this warrior, how Delilah touched him in such a way that he became so vulnerable that she mishandled it, but it was really good for him. But she used it very in a very
Control.
cunning
Okay.
and deceptive way.
Mhm.
She used it in a deceptive way, but it was actually something that he benefited from and men will benefit from. There's something, my wife, when we're traveling,
I
she
was just,
touches,
I was getting ready to do it. Like,
uh,
do,
she touches
do
me, and the girls earlier on years ago, they were like, "Get off my daddy. Why are you touching my daddy like this? Every time we get in the car, you touching my daddy." And I don't know if that was something that was really automatic and intrinsic. I don't know if you ever did this for another boyfriend, but I want to believe that you just really just saw my need and was
Mhm.
just doing it for me, right?
Absolutely.
Right. But it does something to me. It blesses me, it
Okay.
relaxes me, it allows me to drive 10 miles extra. You were getting ready to say
I was gonna
something
say,
about
don't
it.
tell all my secrets. Don't tell
Oh,
my
okay, okay,
secrets.
okay.
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 I mean, unless it's a universal thing.
I don't know about it. It's between me and Samson. I don't know if every brother got to have it, but me and Samson said that's the will
So,
of God.
ladies, this might be a hint. This might be one of those $1,000,000 clues that when you know he's stressed out and he needs to get something out, just start doing the. I don't even want to call it the Delilah trick. I don't want to call it that, but
Right. Don't call it the Delilah trick,
Delilah.
because it's not necessarily
Yeah.
it's something that I want to assign to Delilah solely. It's just that Delilah misused it. She understood it to be an effective means of reaching his vulnerability, because every man has it. Every man has it. And yet every man is not willing to let a woman find it, reach it. And some men will die refusing to let even their spouse get there, because for whatever reason, maybe before she came into his life, he was wounded.
I was gonna say somebody abused.
Right. And he says, "Oh no, never." I've counseled numerous brothers that I know they were like that. They were locked down, they were Fort Knox, and they were not going to let even their life mate, their spouse, the woman that they said I do to, she was not going to get beyond this particular threshold.
But that is true in so many other areas. That is true, because remember we were doing that deliverance session one time, and we had a major breakthrough, you and me, because you were like, I remember where I got snared by this, um, where I got where that entered in, and it was because you made a decision. I'll never let anybody get that close to me again. And there were some times where, um, in some places that you didn't feel comfortable even let me and the girls in,
Yeah, and sometimes, yeah, I think we beat that up. Let's move, because I hope that unless somebody who watches this feels like we didn't go deep enough, or you have a particular question, we can go back down this particular path. But we've got some other things that we want to touch.
Okay.
And I think we've let it be known that men respond to physical touch in a very positive way, because it allows us to be vulnerable. Again, Delilah understood that, but she was deceptive in her management of it, and it cost Samson his life. Right. I'll conclude with that. It cost him his life. What am I saying, ladies? I'm saying when you are allowed to enter in to that vulnerable place, you are being entrusted with something so powerful. A man lays his life into your hands, in many regards, steward it, don't abuse it.
Amen.
So,
The next one.
yeah, men try to do it without instructions. Now, this is something that most recently we had conversation about this amongst some men, and we found that men are really in two different spaces. Two very, very strong men. I mean, man's man type guys were on two polar opposite ends. One was saying, I don't want nothing to do with instructions. And the other was saying, I got to have instructions. So this, I want to say, it's kind of hard to pinpoint and say this is the general consensus, because I think we can find where there's going to be differences amongst brothers.
Okay. Let me put it this way.
Go ahead.
Okay. I think men don't mind, some don't mind using instructions when they're trying to put something together that they know nothing about.
Mm-hmm.
But let's talk about men receiving instructions from women, especially their spouse. You feel the same?
Finish your point.
Do you think men are open to receiving instruction, like being told?
A lot of times men are not open to advice and instruction, especially from their helpmate. All right. And why is that the case? I think we sort of went in this direction.
Weak.
You don't want to appear weak, and you don't want to feel like you don't have it together. And so there's an issue again about vulnerability. And you see this in corporate America. You see it in organizations that are led by men. You see it in organizations where men may be in mid-level leadership. It's going to be the case.
It's a problem. It's a challenge. I mean, I deal with it. You've heard me complain about.
You see it on the battlefield, individuals end up taking moving in a direction that costs their battalion, it costs their platoon.
Yeah, it just does not make sense to me. If I am more skilled in an area and I can give you advice, and I'm not talking about you right now. I'm talking about have I been complaining about this over the past week?
You have?
I just
because as I said, it's in corporate America.
Oh yeah. Like, if I'm the expert in this area, I'm not trying to help you do something I don't know better than you, but I just think I think men can unfortunately experience a lot of needless casualties and frustrations, and we can help you win if we are more skilled in a particular area, as long as we're doing it with a great heart. You know what I mean? I mean, can save you time, money, effort.
Well, one of the issues that comes into play tremendously in this particular element is pride versus humility. Pride versus humility. If the more prideful you are, the less you're going to be open to instruction, counsel. Biblically, we know that there's a scripture that says there's safety in the multitude of counsel, right? And even sometimes we hear people use this adage, when I know better, I'll do better. I don't believe that, because a lot of people know a thing, but don't necessarily abide by that thing, and might very well, because of pride, press their way down a pathway that causes them to lose. And hopefully it's not something that they can't bounce back up from and try again, and maybe having been lit, that they'll try to be more available in the next scenario.
Mhm.
But pride oftentimes becomes an issue that a lot of men have to overcome,
Mhm.
such that it makes us unavailable to instruction. But the dynamic of looking vulnerable and weak before the masses, I mean, excuse me, before their mate, some will even want to look weaker before the masses before they want to be look weak before their mate.
Well, what I would say to you is consider that it's a good chance you're looking weak, period. Because if you're not willing to accept wisdom from someone who can assist you, that, you know, what does the Bible say? Pride comes before the fall.
Right.
And so if you're going to fall, there's nothing strong about that.
So is
Unless
this
you give that
also a part where men don't like to ask ask for instructions when they're traveling?
I don't, you would have to answer that.
No, I mean, that's a familiar stereotype that men don't like to ask for directions.
Yeah.
Is that what you're talking about? Or are you just saying receiving instruction, period?
I'm saying everything. Like when we might have, the Lord may have given us some insight. And honestly, I think it's not so much with you and me, because I've figured out the way to kind of help you think it's your idea.
Did y'all just hear that she just confessed to being underhanded?
Strategic. It's strategic. I'm very strategic in helping you.
Okay.
You know, and it's so funny. I'll be like, you remember that time you told me? And I give my advice. And he's like, yeah. Remember when you said, yeah. Okay. Ladies, try that.
Wow. I think I just found out that I've been manipulated.
It's not
in the lies.
It's just
it's not manipulation.
Oh,
It's a coercion.
It's reframing. It's reframing.
It's
reframing.
Wow.
It's reframing. Okay.
That sounds like a t-shirt. Hashtag reframing.
Kim, I'm giving you some good ones tonight, huh? She said, got it.
Hashtag reframing.
It's just
what's being reframed?
Women, we just got to find a way to make it happen. But seriously, wow. try that, ladies. Make it his idea. All right.
All right.
Things we have, and y'all wonder why we so tired and worn out all the time.
Yeah.
All the time, because we just got to go through all this.
Do you reframe a lot for the kids?
I do.
Right. And so you reframing for the kids, and you reframing for the husband.
No, what I do with the kids, I ask a lot of questions and make them and I'm trying to do that with you too. That's why I had to learn to do with somebody we both know. And just like, oh, well, I ask a question, and it's just a little coaching technique. Let's keep it moving.
Yeah. So men are more competitive than women. And this is an interesting framing or notion, because I immediately thought about you and how radically competitive you are. I still think I surpass you in terms of competition mindedness, but you are off the Richter scale when it comes to a woman, especially given the fact that you didn't lace up some high tops. It's really a interesting dynamic, but in general, men are far more competitive than women. What do you think is the reason why this is a true statement?
I just think it's the nature of where the I think it's another way God made you.
Okay,
He
I was
made
gonna,
you the
mhm,
hunter,
mhm.
even though women, just depending on like in the Lion Kingdom, what women are the hunters.
Right, the
So
female does hunt.
um
Not that the male doesn't, but
right, the
she
women
is
that
the lead hunter.
right. So y'all are a lot more competitive. Y'all like it's so hard to say. This is a hard one for me because I am um unrealistically competitive and there, but I do know a female who's more competitive than me, and her name is Victoria Storms. Don't play nothing with her,
Hmm.
okay? Because she
Hmm.
go. But yeah, I think that's a good one.
What is the need? What does a competitive nature? How is it used? Why is it helpful? Why is it something that you think has been given?
I don't know.
I think it's for the propagation of a species. So typically in the animal kingdom, um, the competitive element comes to passing on your DNA. And it's the survival of the fittest. And so whoever wins gets to pass on his genes. If he doesn't, then his gene pool dies off. I thought you don't remember Bishop Bismarck talking about this?
Yeah. But I wouldn't have. I didn't think of
It's absolutely true. So if you don't compete at the highest level, your gene pool, you are not the most fit, and so you don't get the privilege of passing on your gene pool. And this is the perception of how a species becomes stronger over time. And so that's the reason why you'll have two guys competing for the same woman who they want her affection. It's tied to the most foundational of primal instinct.
so when a woman is competitive like me,
Mhm.
it's
It's survival too, and she's trying to stake her claim.
Hmm.
There are many women
You
now
kind of like it about me, though,
what you're
don't you?
what you're
Tell the
describing.
truth.
Yeah, but see, I would that has been something that has drawn me to you,
Hmm.
because there are some women who are far more docile,
Hmm.
who won't demonstrate any kind of competitive element, and that depends on the man that you're dealing with.
Hmm.
Kim saying be fruitful and multiply.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
That's one of the reasons that you see it there. Um, but a lot of people don't really understand it. And it's one of the reasons why you end up seeing guys in the grave.
Yeah, absolutely. But most men don't like competitive women. Is that correct?
Correct. Now, to a certain point,
Yeah.
because I don't want you to fight me. Because if you get too strong, then we're gonna clash. Think about and I don't want to treat you like I would treat a guy.
Right.
I want to know that you are strong.
Oh, I know how to.
That's it.
I know how
I
to.
want you to be strong. That's it. Not weak. But don't challenge me to say that you're stronger than me.
Oh no. Yeah.
It's no. I'm saying this in general.
Oh no. I know.
Yeah.
Because I use it to a certain extent, but I never try to usurp you or anything like that.
It's totally about what's attractive to me is that you are strong. But then there are times with certain things, you're not trying to show no kind of strength or competitive edge, right? It's you're more submitted there
Hmm.
in those spaces. And it may not even have anything to do with me.
Hmm.
It's just your nature.
Hmm.
It's just your nature. And all of this is coming down to, because you started this out tonight asking, is this more nature or is this cultural?
Hmm.
Right?
Hmm.
Both of them are at play.
I agree.
Both of them are at play. And what you're seeing now with this Donald Trump effect, you're seeing a whole lot of his nature coming out and becoming culture.
Yeah, let's keep moving.
No, I use that as an example of how nature can become. Yes. Yes. And so you'll have some people who don't necessarily have that nature trying to manifest it. Look at Marjorie Taylor Greene. She's trying to assert herself in a very manly, domineering way. And then she ran into Sister Crockett. and then we have songs about B6.
Let's keep it moving. Honey, you skipped one. You skipped one. He skipped this one, y'all. When men hurt in their hearts, they shut down their emotions and withdraw. Oh, so you skipped that one on purpose?
I thought we had touched it, but how would you when we're talking about Samson? That's what I'm saying. I felt like we touched it.
No.
All right, so go ahead and speak to that.
When men get hurt,
okay,
in their heart, whether it's intentional or unintentional, they shut down or they overly emote.
Okay.
Why is that?
I still see that in the same falling under the canopy of how Samson evolved, but I want you to speak to it because I felt like we touched it. But go ahead. What did we not say?
That when you are hurt, you withdraw and you shut down.
Okay. Because the opposite could be very Samson-like. With Samson, after he was hurt, he went and tore the house down. And so I think it's a preservation mechanism to preserve oneself, to preserve one's environment, to preserve the ones that are loved so that it does not escalate and become something that is regrettable.
It's just really challenging because I think that sometimes in your hurt, you don't consider reality necessarily, and it gets kind of like you think somebody tried to hurt you because we're all
don't consider reality.
Let's
try to rephrase that.
Okay. When you're hurt, when something doesn't feel good from someone that you love,
okay,
you don't always take a step backwards to think about it, and you can sometimes cause intentional injury when the initial offense was not intended.
Okay. I think that can be on both sides, but keep going.
Yeah, it probably can, but I don't think, well, no, I know. I just think it is problematic because we're going to get hurt. We're going to get offended, And so I just think sometimes men get over, we say women are easily offended, but when men do get offended, it can be dangerous.
Right, which is this particular point talks about withdrawing. And I think that very thing you just said about it can get dangerous is a safety valve. Many engineers devise many mechanical elements with safety valves in order to prevent an ultimate devastation or an explosion. And I think that's what that withdrawal is all about.
that's helpful. Women, did y'all hear that? So let them shut down before they blow the whole house up.
Right. That, absolutely. And
It
would
took
you
us
agree?
28 years.
Would
to
you
get
agree
here.
that there are more male engineers than female engineers?
Yeah. Well, until recently, yeah. Traditionally, it's changing.
Many of the fundamental designs that are included in building constructs, engines, um, rocket ships are built in with safety valves for a reason. They're safety measures to avoid ultimate devastation.
Ladies, do you hear me? Let him go into his cave.
Hey, let him go
It's been.
into his
Why
cave
didn't you tell
and
me this
then wait for him
before?
to come out, and then y'all can sit down and have a tea party.
Even if it takes all week.
Let him get. Do you have to wait for the engine to cool before you can repair it as a mechanic? You better believe it. Ask any wise mechanic. The issue may be there and you have an idea of what the issue is, but you got to let that engine cool.
Why you take so long to tell me?
You don't listen as
No.
well as you say
Well,
you do.
you don't tell me when it's calm. You tell
Okay.
me when I'm overly emoting.
Mm. I like what Kim says. Safety valves is AKA man cave.
Yes.
Understand.
Or a car or
it ain't
long
it ain't
drive.
packing,
Like,
it ain't packing
at?
a bag. It ain't packing a bag. Typically it's a woman telling you to pack your bag and go elsewhere, right? Get out my house, right? He didn't say he was packing a bag. All he wanted to do was retreat to cool off and then to come back.
Okay. This is helping me.
Hey,
This is helping.
let him cool off
I
so
just
that the
don't know
thing
why
don't get blown up.
I just don't know why it took this long for me to learn this one. Okay.
Pick them
you.
up, and don't keep them to yourself. Pick them up and share with the neighbors. Share with your circle. Share with the women's ministry.
But what happens if we
share
don't
with
come
your
looking
sorrows.
for you? We're like, peace.
If we don't come, no.
Because
No,
like,
that's not what that's saying.
All right.
That's not what that's saying.
Okay.
Did we not say divorce was not an option? Have you ever wanted to divorce me?
Heck yeah.
Come on and tell somebody. Come on. Now we really getting real. Did y'all hear that? She just confessed that she really did imagine some papers.
A couple of times.
Did you sign them?
Even this weekend.
Did you sign them? Did you sign them?
No. Okay.
Okay. Hold on. No. Are you? You said even
in my mind I did.
Okay. Uh-huh. And are you divorced?
No.
Anyway, last
one.
Your next point.
Men are more inward focused, self-absorbed,
right?
Self-centered, selfish, self-consumed.
Okay. All of that ain't on the paper.
It's just self.
Just like they say in the courtroom, jury, you're instructed to disregard about 5 of those selves because they're not on the paper.
Yes, but
But go ahead.
That I would love for you to answer to that. Like you're. It's so interesting though, seriously, because if something goes down, women typically think about everybody but themselves, before themselves, the average woman. And it's just the opposite.
No, I don't want you to say it that way.
No, not just the opposite.
Because the opposite would say that men don't think about anyone.
Right.
Other than themselves.
Okay, so let me reframe that. But women tend to think of are others focused and not self focused. But if something goes down, men think, especially relationally, to
Men
protect
think.
themselves. Mhm.
Is that the end of the sentence?
I'm trying to be careful with my words because I don't want to be.
Okay. Let me phrase
reframe.
it this way. Women tend to be more self-denying, and they aren't able to put themselves last far better than men in many situations. However, men do it as well, maybe not as often or not as prevalently, but men do it because it comes across in different ways.
Mhm. Men do it for think about others first, and when it comes to it's more logical. But in some of the things that are very important to women,
Mhm.
like their feelings
Mhm.
and their
A lot of times men will sacrifice financially and believe that that's supposed to be all inclusive of every area in space that they can be um, uh, self-denying, and that gets interpreted poorly because there's other issues and needs that they can contribute to and that they can undergird. And thus we have this phrase, I'm the breadwinner, right? I work and then after I've provided financially, then I don't we see men would have historically and culturally felt like their contribution has been fully made, when women are intended to, again, I'm speaking very generally, would be the homemaker, would be the nurturer. And so there are more opportunities for you to deny yourself, right? Because I say to you continually, and I still don't get why this is so hard for you to do. Go get your feet done, go get your nails done. Self-care, Shandi, and you struggle to do it. And I think it's part of your personality in some sense, but I think it's more of the maternal element where you're trying to care for others. You're putting the kids and you're putting me in front of you, right? But at some point, you got to be reminded and really hear when the flight attendant says, in case that the cabin loses pressure, the mask is going to fall from the overhead cabin. Put the mask on yourself. If you see your neighbor needs help, put it on yourself first, then help them, right?
Amen.
What is she saying? What is he saying? That at some point you got to be willing to care for yourself, even with your desire to help somebody else. Now, men take a bad rap about this because sometimes we can, sidestep bearing some of the responsibility and the burden. But I want to shout out the brethren that's out there who are showing up in more ways than just putting money in the bank. They are showing up in ways of being a present husband, a present parent, a participating parent. Now, again, I don't want to leave us and our listeners with believing that what we're saying is about every situation, because we know we have differentials. Yeah. We know we do. But again, would you say that I am, which one am I? Since you telling me you be reframing, don't reframe. Tell the truth. Tell the truth. Which one do you see me being?
Both.
Okay, that sounds like a safe answer that I probably want to wait till we hit the stop
No, I
button.
think you are you are that way reactively.
What way?
Reactively.
What way?
Oh, you're like when I'm rolling on one tire, you'll be like, what can I do to help? I would love for you to do help partner with me in figuring that out in the beginning.
Okay. All right.
Is that fair?
I don't know that it's fully understood.
Okay. Honey, anything you need from me today? In the morning? How can I help you? I know this is going to be a hard week for you. What can I do to take a little off your plate?
Uh-huh.
Something like that.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
I'm getting ready
Instead of fussing at me when my tires are flat and I don't have, and there's no oil left in the car, and then you fuss at me like, you gotta take better care of yourself. Like, it's kind of too late. Then I need one of them hospital trips with some IV bags.
This is a head scratcher. Yeah. Okay. Well, if there are no other questions, we're gonna put. Do we have any questions in the chat?
I don't think so. I think this is. We should have called it. We should have called it 14. We should have called it 14 minutes ago. We've gone way over.
No, so. I hope that this has been helpful. I hope that this has been.
I got a major win out of it.
Okay, well, I think there's an opportunity for you to get another W or two out of here. Just go back and listen to the recorder, and there may be another nugget or two in there. Mm-hmm. I'm taking away that yeah. Why don't you put some oil in the car? Why don't you put some? I don't remember sounding like Florence from the Jeffersons complaining.
Okay.
But here we go. Yo, listen, what y'all are seeing right here
is real.
Is so real. It's so real. And yeah, this could be a whole lot more polished and a whole lot more prim and proper, but that's not what we felt would be beneficial to those who would come across this video, because what we do know is that life is real in every relationship, whether you're talking about at Buckingham Palace, whether you're talking about at the White House, and even in this house. And we believe that we have been called to take time to share with each and every one of you who will listen, and hopefully our story, hopefully our input to the issues of life, the issues of relationship, the issues of family, and so much more beyond can be beneficial. It can be helpful as you seek to go forward. I'm going to say thank you for tuning in. May you fall in love with the man in your life all over again. May you rub his neck and his shoulders and help him find a place of release and relief. May you not be bothered in the middle of the night or in the morning time when He doesn't say the way you need him to say whatever it is that you want him to telepathically know you want him to say. And most of all, may divorce not ever invade your home.
Amen.
We know that you can overcome and you can win at this thing called love and life.
Amen.
Final goodbye.
I agree.
Well, isn't that miraculous? God bless you. We love you. Have a good night.